I wanted to teach this statistics, I would have got statistics. So I found lots of reasons not to read anymore for the past hour. That's what it came down to. Almost mothers doing calendar.
Fun stuff.
Oh, that's okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So I missed y'all this week. So announcements. As always, any changes in your employment or home address, you need to make those amendments to your U4s. It's really loud. I thought it was like music coming on. I'm playing. Oz Night, Wednesday. Haven't had one of those in a while, so super important. We want to get as many people here as you possibly can to hear what we're up to, right? We have some really exciting things happening. We have financial wellness workshops that have occurred. We've got 401ks that are being implemented, and there's lots and lots of opportunity. And we need people. I said it the other day, I'm going to make a shirt that says, I need entrepreneurs, and just walk around with it. So that people say, well, what do you do? Because we need people. This is such an exciting time. This is such an exciting opportunity. My understanding is that each of you were supposed to email Oscar this week with the folks that you want invited to Osnabrück so that we could send out an invite. So, and my understanding is that not very many people did that, which means that we can't, we're here to support helping build out who comes. And if that person receives an invite, it all feels a lot more, right, professional and supported. But if you guys don't provide us with that information, we can't support you in the right way. So I would ask that by the end of today, everybody emails Oscar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names, even if it's people who you think might not come, but is someone that you want invited, because they may say no this time, but now they have the invite, and that'll flow to the next time, right? And they'll see this is a professional organization behind you, supporting you, that if it's something that they decide to support or take advantage of, they also get that support. Make sense?
Do we include their
Email address.
number,
Email? Yep, name and email. Name, email, and who they are to you, because that helps us know the tone, right? Make sense? Actually, you know what I'd love? Name, email, who they are to you, and where they are in your lineup. Right? Are they a hot? Are they a lukewarm? Are they someone that you said hi to, but you said hi enough times that you actually invited them to this thing, right? Are they someone who's been on your bullpen, right? Are they someone who's on your draft board? That'll help us with the tone. And if you're not sure, you can put hot/draft board, right? Because I know that's something that we're still working on. But it's a great way to say to someone, I'm working on this thing, and I would love for you to just hear more about it. Will you come? Okay? It'll be an exciting night. It's in our new colored space, and we have a lot of new fun things to share. Okay, that's my commercial for OSNIC. Just as a reminder, we have employer nights coming up, and we're going to be sending out those invites. We're going to start sending out those invites on Tuesday. And so each of you have 2 slots. I believe that you have an employer. If you say, I know I have 2, but there's 4 that I really want to send it out to, send an email, again to Oscar. This is a second email. Invitees for employer night. Put the 4 that you want to invite and star the 2 that are most important. And we'll look at the total numbers and decide, because a lot of times we'll send out more invites if we have the capacity. But this is invitation only. There's a limited space. But anyone who's got employees, we want to get to that night. And we will also send you the flyer so that if you wanted to print it out and give it to someone, you can see what it's about, what we talk about. If you are fully licensed, you get to be here. if you have a guest here, you get to be here. Otherwise, you need to get fully licensed or get a guest, because it's a really fun and exciting night. And we've had great attendance and we've had great responses, right? We've had financial wellness come out of it. We've had sit downs come out of it. So that's a really great community night. Cool? Okay. So I know that, the focus on Wednesday, I wasn't here, but I was brought up to speak, is really talking about the purpose of the financial wellness workshops. That's something that we're really focused on. And Wade had an incredibly exciting week this week related to that I'm going to invite him up here to share with you.
What? I know, right? So if I bring my coffee up, that means that I'm what? You're gonna be here a while? Yeah, exactly. They didn't give me a time limit, so I got snacks, I got coffee. Snacks Saturday. Okay, how's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Oh, good. The guys are a little more pumped today. I like it. Must have been good on Wednesday. So, all right. We've been talking a lot about. Oh, it turns on. It's on. Oh, it is. Okay. We've been talking. This just means I haven't talked to very much. We've been talking a lot about.
Nice shirt, Wade.
Thank you.
It's like in the colors.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. We've been talking a lot about the financial wellness seminars, right? And so why we do them, and sometimes I've been talking a lot about the 401ks, okay? But I just want to make sure that I need to stop doing that, because the 401ks are part of the financial wellness seminar, right? Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to focus exclusively on one area of the business, not realizing that there are other areas of the business, okay? So just from the get-go, I need to change my language and say, I'm going to be relentless about operating these wellness workshops. The reason is because there's a local restaurant that has like 62 employees. They already have a 401k, right? So if I'm focused only on, oh, I'm going to do a 401k, I'm going to do a 401k, I'm going to do a 401k, then maybe I stop talking to that business owner who has 62 employees, okay? So 401ks can be a part of a financial wellness workshop, but from now on, I apologize, I'm only going to talk about financial wellness workshops and not 401ks, okay? However, we did do a 401k yesterday as where we did a as part of our financial wellness workshop sort of program, okay? And so it's just to give you a little background, this is a law firm, and it's not a very big law firm, okay? It's a boutique law firm. It has, there are 2 high-income employees, basically the owners, and then there are six or seven other employees that are part of the business, okay? So you're like, well, wait, that's not very big. Why would we want to spend time talking to them, right? Well, we're going to talk about why, even though the business itself is big, it can have a potentially very explosive effect on your business. And then if you say, wow, if a business of 8 people can do that, what can a business of 60, 80, 100, 500 do? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is what was really exciting about when we started this process is the credibility piece. And what I mean by that is, look, when you go in to do a financial wellness seminar for someone, right, there's an influencer that you have convinced that you're going to give some value to their organization, all right? And so when we went in there, Brett went in there, there's a guy named Sean who's on my team who you guys are all going to meet, and I was there, right? And the cool thing is that we're presented as basically automatically out of the gate, these people know what they're talking about, listen to these people, and we bootstrap the credibility of the owner to get into that meeting, all right? Now, one thing to know is that that can be a good thing or that can be a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be sort of something to be aware of, is that if you have a really and the owner that is part of this business is not like this at all, but if you have like a real tyrannical owner, right, all the credibility piece that does for you is make them listen to you, okay? So once that you're in the room or once you start one of these financial wellness workshops, the credibility then results back to you and creating that relationship with them. That's the most important thing. So what do we do? What do we build? And how do we do that? Allies, advocates, and associates. So every time that we're trying to build a relationship, the first thing we're doing is we need to make these people an ally for us. And all of the prep work is done. Once you start the financial wellness workshop, the real work begins with, okay, how do I make these people an ally, right? So, because when we were in there, in the beginning, I don't know if Brett felt this, but I felt there was some tension in the room, right? And the, you know, sometimes that you'll give a talk and there'll be tension, and you could feel it, there was a little tension. And part of the reasons is that it's a work environment, right? they're unfamiliar with what's happening, and they don't know what's required of them, okay? Also, you typically don't know how the business owner is going to explain this to them, right? And so I'm just giving you some kind of, this is kind of like an in the weeds conversation about when you're starting this, but I just want to really make you understand that if you get into the beginning of any conversation with anyone, as Brett says, it's not how the conversation begins, it's how the conversation ends, okay? Yes?
I just had something to say about, you just said you're not sure how the business owner let his folks know what was gonna happen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that we can send a flyer to the business owner that he can send out to his people to explain, so we know what's been said to them?
We could do that, yeah, absolutely, and that's something that I'm sure that Brett and Robin are thinking about with Access Support. But here's the deal, right? We want to get good at not depending on those things, because we can give all the flyers to business owners in the world, and they may not get to them, right? Have you ever told someone about the business, and you say, and with one conversation, and said, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then they go and tell someone to it, and then like, we're in a totally different business, right? So Access Support is going to help us with that. We're going to set, every time that we do a financial wellness seminar, everything's going to be set up. But we also want to be prepared if the sort of game of telephone happens, to where we walk in there and people are like, so are we here to get swim lessons, right? No, and then you have to be able to, that's part of what we're going to train on and get good at, is no, we're not here for swim lessons, but let me talk to you about this, right? Although I have a swim lesson shirt, okay? So, but that's a great question. And yes, and also too, is sometimes we don't control what people hear, how they hear us, right? But here's the good news, no matter what, they're forced to be in there too. Right? So that's the credibility piece. And so I want you guys to understand is that when you're giving these financial wellness workshops, you can have a lot of faith in these workshops and what we do, right? Because when we started this process, there was a lot of tension in the room. At least I felt it, right? And maybe I was tense because it's the first time that I've been in that sort of environment doing that exact type of talk. I've given that talk many times, but this was the first time that we had that I had done it in this environment, right? So maybe I was tense, but I felt that they were tense. And so we just started doing the presentation, and the presentation is designed to do two things, right? Number one is the presentation is designed to make the business owner a hero, okay? Why is that important, right? Is that because that's how we get them to let us give it to them in the first place, right? We're doing an F&A, we're doing the financial wellness, we're giving them information, right? And so as we started to make them a hero and as they started to relax, everything turned. When we started to talk about the third part of making the business owner a hero, is that the part of this financial wellness workshop is you're all going to get a personal financial coach. And then everybody started to relax, right? Why?
So they've been through something like this before?
Possibly, yeah, but what does that mean that they've been through what?
They never had a personal financial advisor.
Right, and what do we talk about in our business about how people don't have a personal financial advisor? What is a really big, important piece of our business that we base everything on? The access gap, yes, it's real, okay? The most important thing that you can learn from these financial wellness seminars is that the access gap is real. So when you sit in there and you're telling people, hey, look, if you're 25 and you save $89 a month, you're gonna have $500,000, right? And they're like, but I haven't been saving $29,000 a month or $89 a month. I haven't known any of this information, right? And it's real. So when we're giving these, where I'm like, I'm up there, and I'm like, oh, and everyone started to turn around when they just started mashing on the information of the access gap and the the information that we're giving them, but then that they're gonna have someone to call, right? And so the huge thing that I learned from this financial wellness is to increase my confidence that the access gap is real. You can go into any room with any number of people, give them the information that they haven't had before, and even if they have had it before, they don't have anyone to call. And no one's coming, right? And so for us as an organization, we can give these financial wellness workshops and we can say, look, you're gonna have a personal financial coach. We're gonna do a plan for you, right? That just chill everybody out. And then so, Brett, what would you say the typical participation rate on a 401k is in terms of when not our organization, but just generally when someone does a 401k, they hand out the books. What do you think the participation is?
Low 40s.
So typically when businesses do 401ks, and again, this is a 401k as part of the financial wellness workshop, the participation rate is 40%, okay? So at the end of the, I don't know why I use this paper. I just don't have this paper. At the end of the, at the end of the meeting, right, at the financial wellness workshop, we handed out, this information. We handed out these compliance sheets, right? So everybody could give their information. So now they weren't required to give it, right? But everybody gave their name, number, email address, all their contact information, a good time to call them. And then they said, okay, well, what's your topics of interest? So we were there to talk about this box right here, contributing to the 401k. That ostensibly is the only reason that we were supposed to be there. Just this one, okay? So first of all, the main reason that we were there is, hey, we're gonna introduce the 401k for this firm. Here's what's gonna happen. Who wants to contribute? That's ostensibly the only reason that we're supposed to be there, right? The typical participation rate is 40%. We got 100%. Every single person checked the box, right? So number one, let's talk about results, right? And this is why this is how can explode. This can explode your business or your people's business. Is that we got 100% of people saying, I want to contribute, okay? Is that why we're there? To get them to contribute to 401k? Yes and no. No, the main reason is no, right? But yes, right? Our job is to make sure they understand and contribute, right? The main reason that we're there is to build allies, advocates, and associates, right? So these people have a personal financial coach that they can call for all of these issues, right? And so from a results perspective, we have 100% participation rate in 401k. If someone's going to participate in a service that you have, are they an advocate? Yes. Typically, if you get someone to buy something from you, they are an advocate for you and your services, right? So, but we want them to be an advocate. I don't really care that I do care that they're doing the 401k, that's important. But what I care about is it indicates that they're an advocate for us, right? That they believe in what we're doing, because you don't spend your own money if you don't believe what someone's trying to do. So we have 100% participation rate, and in a 40-minute meeting, we converted 6 advocates, like that, right? And at the end, the credibility that we had switched over was not from the owner, it was from the message and the story. Because listen, guys, you just have to get good at one story. It's the same story every single time, right? We in the business try to figure out different ways to get people to hear us, because they're in trouble and they don't know it, right? And so the reason why these financial wellness workshops are so awesome is because we have on the front end to figure out a way to sit with people or get them to sit with us, but by the end of it, they're like, holy crap, this is real, I need someone to talk to, and that someone's us, right? So now for this 6 people, do these 6 people know other people, right? Of course, right? And so the thing is like once we make them an advocate, and they're an advocate for us, and they can go into our baseline 30, they can go into the farm system, all these things can happen, and it can explode our business, right? Our skills get better by giving them. The number of people that we do grows our business. You know, it's just everything about our business is growth. And here's the one thing I just want you guys to understand. It's because what we're saying is real, right? The access gap is real. So the more that we understand that internally, the easier it is for us to talk to people, because no one's coming to talk to these people. There were people from 25 years old all the way up to someone that was substantially older, right? And no one's ever talked to these people about any of these concepts. No one's coming. You're the only hope these people have, right? And so I'm really excited about these financial wellness workshops because of all of these things, but I'm most excited about it because anyone can do that, right? Because it's the same story. So that's why I'm really excited about them. I hope that was helpful. Thanks.
So it's funny. So it was a lot of fun, and it's fascinating. So everything is an opportunity to grow. Everything's an opportunity to learn. Now, I have a question. If you heard what Wade just said, what would you say the purpose of the financial wellness workshop was? You sat here, this is the first conversation, you just heard Wade have the conversation. What's the purpose of financial wellness? To build advocates, right? That's the purpose for building for the financial wellness. Fair? I have a question for you. Right? And so let me go through. We coach our captains, right? This is the fundamental understanding in terms of where things go and opportunities. And it's funny, as Robin and I always talk about, right? Because Robin's steering their ship, right, in terms of where things are going. Right? Robin's steering the ship. She's driving. She's the RVP that's going. She's running the meetings and all. For the most part, like this is her gift. And my job is to steer Robin. She's steering the ship, and I'm steering Robin. Why? Because I'm an expert at distribution. I'm an expert at the growing of a Primerica business. And so we have because we're learning a dynamic of how do we coach captains, how do we drive owners, how do we do this stuff, right? There's 9 layers of things that are going on. And so here's a really interesting opportunity. Because Wade just crushed it, he had a great day yesterday. But if you heard Wade, the purpose of the financial wellness workshop was to what? Build advocates. Tony, what's the purpose of financial wellness? See, because if I'm running this conversation, if I'm doing what Wade just did, he and I have a vastly different debrief. So I'm going to do this, and this is going to be both for Wade's benefit and for everybody's benefit. And here's why. Wade didn't do anything wrong. Wade, your explanation was fantastic. Right? Your input, this isn't about being critical. This is about opportunities for growth and learning. And we always need to have a honing beacon. My value over the next 6 to 12 months in this particular organization is my zealotry for what it is we're actually doing. Now, there's going to come a point that we have a culture of that, but I'm not sure. And this is one of those things, the moment I say it, there's going to be people like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's a complete and total zealotry for what it is we're doing, because that's how you create something from scratch. Right? You have a mental picture of what's being done, and no one in the world understands it until they understand it. And the moment they understand it, they own it as though they understood it their entire lives. This is like, we all have iPhones, we all have connections, everyone has personal computing. Right? There were phones before. Steve Jobs came on and said, we're going to make sure that your entire life runs this way. And we're like, what? And now our entire life runs that way. The secret of Apple is, I'm going to deliver a product you didn't even know you couldn't live without. Which is a fascinating construct. Well, when I completely understand. Okay. See, yesterday, Wade had a guy who passed his test who none of you have met come with us, who's got his life license in the process of a securities license, handed out the books, and we had an opportunity to drive from here to Woodland Hills and back. And the entire time was the opportunity for me and Wade and Sean to get to know each other, and for me to plant seeds and ideas and understanding what was going on. Because by the time we dropped Sean off, Sean was like, okay, exactly what do I got to get through the licenses? What do I need to be able to make sure that I'm the one that you bring on every time you walk into a baller's room? He's never been to a meeting. And he's an incredibly educated, got a master's degree, like incredibly educated, incredibly competent, right? Kids, responsibilities, can walk into any room, could crush anything. He's never been to a meeting. He's like, okay, what do I got to do to make sure I pass this test? Right? I'm like, urgent, I'm getting it done. I'm as soon as boom, and I want to be in those rooms. Whatever rooms you want me upstairs, I want to be in that room. Now, I know that Sean went home and told his girlfriend about the day. He couldn't not. Which means Sean's now advocating for what we're doing and is actually practicing language. Wade today is going to talk to him and say, so, what did you say to your girlfriend? Why is Wade going to have that conversation? Good job. Wade's going to look at an opportunity to coach Sean on how he's communicating the message of what happened. Because he gets to coach Sean on, so, well, I told him it went well. Well, wait a second, did you tell her about this? Well, yeah, I told her this. And he's going to hear what Sean thought. It got translated. And here's an opportunity for Wade to actually coach Sean on how he's going to articulate. Why is that important? What's the purpose?
Because we're in distribution.
We're in the distribution business. So what is Sean going to do over the next week? He's going to get into conversations with people, and he's going to tell the story about yesterday. That's all this is about. No, not your bad. No, this is important. It's really critical. It's not your bad. Of course you're going to be thinking about what you're thinking about. That's your job. That's where you are. You don't own zealotry yet. I will get that in you. It's with a Z. Right? Because there are two components to zealotry in the financial wellness. One, it has nothing to do with what we teach. It has the fact that you now have someone to talk to. I am a complete zealot on that conversation. I will beat that into the ground. It is our major differentiator from every financial wellness across the country, is our ability to understand the access gap is real and that we deliver someone to talk to. That is our edge. That no one else will think is a big deal, because you actually have to live in this world psychologically to value that it's a big deal. So all the smart people in the room think it's all about the structures and the systems and the charts, but it's not. It's about the fact that in the last 3 years, if you had something economic that's happened in your life, all of us had, who'd you call? You called your mom, you called your best friend, you called someone. Did you call your expert? What expert? Exactly. From this point forward, you have an expert. Because Cindy, in the last 3 years, you've had some interesting things, huh? And who did you call? You called me. You know why? I'm your expert. Come on, you guys just had some things go on. Who did you call? You called me. Why? I'm your expert. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm your expert, because both of you have learned when there's economic situations come up, your ass calls your expert. But that's a learned principle. 10 years ago, when you had economic things come up, who'd you call? No one. That's a learned principle. Let's hijack the conversation for a second, but I want you to understand now. Some of you are going to go think that that's a message. If you go talk to an owner about the fact that we give someone to talk to, they're not going to give a shit about that. They're going to give a shit about financial wellness, because it sounds good and it sounds like they're doing something that's important. That one's free, that wasn't part of the conversation. We'll get into that. Wade's business grew yesterday because Sean is going to learn how to communicate what's going on. And then what's going to happen is Sean's going to talk to one of his buddies about it, and he's going to debrief that to Wade, and Wade's going to start being able to coach Sean on how he tells that story. But then Wade's going to talk to Dorinda about the fact that Sean talked to his buddy, and his buddy knows an owner. Because it's going to happen. And then Wade's going to come in and be like, oh my God, remember Sean, that story? He was talking to a buddy of his that owns a fill in the blank, and we might be doing something for them. Whether we do it or not is almost irrelevant. The moment the possibility enters Sean's brain, Sean is it. Because that's our business. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Now, the other interesting thing, we're sitting in the middle of the conversation, and you know what's always good when someone raises their hand and goes, wait, you guys do life insurance? Like, that's a good day right there. He's like, I've been looking for it, I just didn't know who to talk to. You know how fun it was for Wade to go, yeah, Sean and I will come sit with you and take care of that. And we're in the car, and Wade's like, Sean, you got your first client. Why? Because Wade's job is to make sure that Sean gets the stories in his head and get good at communicating it. Why? Because if Sean gets better at that, Wade's business explodes. Because that's the purpose of our wellness. Does it make sense? But I want you to understand, how easy is it to forget the purpose of what we're doing and why we're doing it? How easy is it for that? That's not a bad thing. That's an awareness thing. It's easy for Wade to be like, oh my God, all of these people want me to come see them. This is awesome. It was successful. And of course it was successful, because this is the benefit of awareness. But don't forget the purpose of why we're doing this. And for those of you that haven't seen this, we made it up 2 days ago. We're still dialing it in. When we know what we're actually doing, we'll give it to you.
100% though.
100%. Like, look, I understand what it is we're trying to get done. Give us a handful of dimes. We will build this all the way through. We will absolutely have a communication process to be able to front load, be able to do. We are going to have this thing completely and totally dialed in. You know why? I don't have to think about the lineup anymore. I don't have to think about the access gap. I don't have to think about, right, the farm system. I don't have to think about access support. Like, I'm like, shit, my brain, like, there's like this entire chunk of my brain that has like been currently consumed for the last 7 years that's like bored. And so we're like, okay, let's systematize the tool that's going to change all of our lives. Trust me, we will get it. I have copies of it. Oh, this one. Okay, cool. And we'll figure out, there's a lot of holes on here, and I'm like, how are we going to track it? There's all sorts of shit. We have no idea what we're doing.
But it works.
But here's the deal. That's the fun. creating something. I'm not going to stand up here and say we've got everything dialed in. Right? We're talking to Sean, we're like, look, here's the reality. We know this is going to work. We're trying to figure out, this is the, look. Michelangelo, you guys have to take off, right? Go ahead. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming this morning. You know, Michelangelo is one of my favorite stories. So he was interviewed, right? Because David, the statue David was from a single rock. He's like 8 feet tall. Like, think about one big rock. And they was interviewed, and he's like, how did you like do that? How did you sculpt that out of one rock? Like, how did you do it? And he goes, to be honest with you, all I did, David was in there the entire time. All I did was knock the pieces that didn't belong away. That's what we're doing. That's what this entire process has been about. We know exactly how he saw David in the rock and said, my job is to simply knock it to pieces away. I know exactly how this is going and have for a long time. I talked to Sue, she's like, are you almost done? I'm like, I know I'm almost done with this part. We didn't invent anything. We're just knocking away the pieces that don't belong until we get it there. And so part of this, and this is what's really important, and hopefully I did it okay down with this. I am not disappointed, embarrassed, or frustrated with Wade. You did nothing wrong. You communicated it perfectly. And it's that easy to focus on something and not focus on something else to keep the story. This isn't about perfection. This is about the dynamics in our relationship to be like, oh God, that is, Robin and I literally have a role that says her job's to run it and her job's to manage the team, my job's to manage her. Because I understand like the Primerica distribute where we're going. Right, guys? I've run a big bay shop a long ass time. We recruited and trained a lot of people. We've gotten a lot of people to stick and grow and get promoted. I'm really good at that. There's skills that come with that. There's experience and understanding that comes with that. You're not supposed to know that stuff yet. You haven't been exposed to it. It's not about failure because you don't have the experience. It's about being open to the experiences you have and then compare them to a difference where you're like, oh shit, that's true. That is a different way of thinking. Because that thinking will then determine how I tell it, where the story is, what the foundation is, and all of those other pieces. I didn't know, I thought that I had been clearer. This is okay. This is an indicator of our connection and relationship as to where this goes. This is about growth. Does that make sense? The best thing that could have happened is what has happened because all of you get to learn what it means to be a pro. Wait, he's not depressed right now. He's not embarrassed. He's not frustrated. He's like, oh shit, you're right. Okay, I get to keep this philosophy and introduce this and work on it. That's phenomenal. Now, one of the side questions is, if situations reverse, how would you be responding right now? And that's an indicator for your opportunity to grow. Would you be sad? Would you be embarrassed? Would you be defending? Would you be frustrated? Would you be excited? Would you be enthusiastic? Would you be rationalizing? Would you be defending? Would you be explaining? Would you be celebrating? How would you feel about the interaction and the experience that just happened? The person that had the greatest opportunity to grow in this room at this experience was Wade, because he was very clear on what he thought. He saw an alternative, and now he gets to compare them. And there's no opportunity for him to hide unless he chooses to, but there's no need to. The person who has the greatest opportunity to grow in this room is Wade. But the only way that happens is he's open to hear both sides of the story. How would you have responded? Right, I've always told you guys, I've been a ferocious reader. One of the reasons, right, I gotta get back to, right, that the average person's 38 years old when they write their first book. The average person's 38 years old who writes their first book. It took them 38 years to write their first book, and I can read it in 2 weeks. Wade can read it in a week, and Robin can read it in a day, right? But both that, right? But it take me 2 or 3 weeks, that's fine. But I can do it, I can take 38 years and jam it into 3 weeks. I'm the laziest person in the history of the world. I can take 38 years and jam it into 3 weeks. I'll take the 3 weeks. because I get to learn from their experiences. Now, if I read in order to validate what I already know, I actually lose that 38 years. So that was for free. Excited?
Yes.
But the reality is, right, there's probably 3 or 4 appointments, right, right, within the 401k, you know, there's a year thing, there was, you know, a handful of people that didn't qualify for the year, they're not there yet, that they're still gonna go sit down with, they're still gonna put the plan together. So for them, it actually was a financial wellness workshop because they can't actually take advantage of the 401k yet, right, it was embracing that, right, this is an opportunity to grow. This is why we do this. So, y'all excited?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions?
So if there's new employees that come to the firm, will they be offered financial wellness, or is it once the year's up and they're vested, then they'll sit down next year for the 401k?
Wait, do you have an answer for that question?
I do have an answer for that. So one, I'm super excited about what you said, Brett. That's awesome because I think about the distribution. And when I said my bad, I was like, that's like, no. I was like, I've got to get more intense about learning and stuff. So I'm excited about that. So anyways, that's not your question.
That's okay.
So
Thank you.
I'm still processing what you said. I'm not done with that. So yes. So now that we have an established relationship with the firm, right? And now that we have an established relationship sort of with the other, sort of like the admin people or whatever, when a new person comes in the firm, it's just the most natural thing in the world for them to say, yeah, we're gonna sit down with you because this is what they do. And so it doesn't have to be me to do it because we're in a distribution business, so I can just have Sean do his business and grow.
Hey,
Put it right in there in 1 second. So yes, so no, but the thing is then also we do revisits too, right? Because we're gonna have an individual, we can set it however we want. We can do quarterly check-ins with people or just do an email or whatever to answer your question. Yes, so we don't have to wait a year, we get them right away. And when people leave, because someone probably had to leave to fill that spot, those people are gonna call us as well. So we get them coming in, we get them coming out.
awesome.
No, and that's perfect, right? The opportunity. So we're going through this, right? And some of these people are like, yes, this sounds great. I have a question. Based on your experience, we got 6 people that I said, yes, I want everything. What's the likelihood that all 6 do everything? It's probably not gonna happen. Oh God, I'm not at my 100% anymore. No, see what's going to happen is one, there's a relationship. A year from now, at least, we're gonna go back and they're gonna do another wellness seminar, and here's what's gonna happen. There's going to be someone on this list that says, I want to do something that's on this list that they're not going to do. And then they're going to see, wait a year from now, and here's what they're going to say. You know, we never did that. And we can be like, you know what, you're right. We probably should. So there's a built-in drip system of a relationship to be able to go, why? Because is Wade going to be in business a year from now? Yeah. And as the relationships develop and the reputation develops, there's going to be an advocacy group. See, the reality is someone's right now, if someone got hired tomorrow, no one in the room is going to go, hey, by the way, here's the phone number of our financial coach that you can work with. But a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when 80% of the room has different people that are talking in, it becomes a service and a support that's offered from the beginning as a value. That's the power of an advocacy group. See, what happens is when we sit down with fill in blank, and what's the likelihood of one of these people being married to somebody who works at a small company? So all of a sudden they sit down and one of these people works at an optometrist that has 11 employees in it. What's the likelihood at some point potentially them saying, oh my gosh, we don't have this. This is what we get to do. This is where expansive growth kicks in.
So I have a question. I forgot Don's question, so maybe I'm not understanding this correctly. So is it going to be a combination of both, where we're going to do revisits for the entire firm and do another wellness, and when someone new comes in, try to get them to sit in individually?
Correct.
Or is it just going to be the quarterly or the?
No, so it'll be both. But what I'm saying is, in the beginning, we will be the pursuer to the new employee. In the beginning, we'll be the pursuer. They'll sit down and say, hey, here's a new employee. They finished their 90 days. They'll send us an email saying, hey, here's a new employee. They finished their 90 days. And then it's our opportunity to reach out and be able to go through. There will come a point where the reputation and relationships flip. Because right now, and maybe it flips on day one, but knowing most people at the beginning, they're like, oh, here's this thing we do. As we make a stronger impact and a stronger presence, it becomes a selling point. Now the people that are doing the hiring that say, hey, here's our benefits package. Yes, we've got a 401k, and there's an on-site financial coach that's able to help through, negotiate, or navigate any of your stuff. When you join, we reach out because as they sell that, it becomes more valuable. In the beginning, it's a line on a piece of paper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's we offer financial needs analysis. We have a 401k after a year, and here's a financial coach that'll do a financial needs analysis. When someone's explaining it, it's a check. As we make a stronger impact in that particular organization, it now becomes an asset.
Plus too, if any of those employees actually took advantage of the services that are offered, then they come back and say, hey, you know what, remember that guy that was here? I sat with him and and this is what happened, and you should do that. Yeah.
That's how I understand it. So this is what allows us to do this.
Thank you. Exactly. So after all this, you get the people and start to talk with them. I'm guessing we're going to skip through the baseline stuff and just very kind of sitting at the kitchen table. Or how does that whole process work with the relationship with each of these 6 people?
So we're kind of on two different things. Okay, so let's take 2 minutes on what this baseline concept is. Okay, just so that we can get very clear. Okay, so here's what happens. When it comes to our farm system, we have our bullpen. We have our nows. We have our hots and our warms. We have our then lists, our lukewarms, and our frozens, and our goal is to move that. The biggest distinction between the bullpen and the now list is their ability to hear us. This is the distinction. They understand, they like and trust us, they understand what we're doing and what we're doing is in alignment. That's the distinction between the bullpen and the now list. Does that make sense? Okay. The baseline 30 is designed to move people from here to here. It plants the seeds purposefully and intentionally to give someone the opportunity to understand that we're doing something for their opportunity to hear us. So when we first sit with someone that's here that likes us, but they're not in a place where they can hear us, we introduce the fact that we're doing it because we planted the seed that we're doing something else. When we sit back with them again and they ask us, oh my God, you're still doing this, and now in phase 2, we have the opportunity to introduce the emotions of what we're doing, we've now ingrained that this is actually what we're doing. At that point, someone might move to the bullpen or they might not. When we sit back with them again, right, they might understand that we're in financial services, but they don't understand that we're in distribution. Phase 3 of the baseline is the opportunity for them to understand that it's not just that we're doing this, it's that we're teaching it, because ultimately we want people to understand that we're in the growth process. So on phase 3 of the baseline, we've introduced the fact that we're teaching this because learning something is different than teaching it, and here's what they're working with. And then stage 4 is the running it. So now all of a sudden I'm building and growing a team, and now there's a need to grow. Someone could pivot to the bullpen on phase 2, 3, or 4, depending upon the relationship, based on your communication skills, based on their resistance in terms of that. So this is how we move people to hear our story and ultimately move them to an advocate group where they have a clear picture of what we're doing, because what we need them to know is what we do, well, the details, the impact, and the value, why we do it, the emotional connection, and then they're open to help. They know that they're willing to help and they know how they can help. That process, those checks are designed through the 4 phases to be confronted by the 4 phases of the baseline.
So the difference between phase 3 and phase 4 would be, for instance, when I'm talking to someone, hey, I just opened up this financial wellness and 401k for business, that would be one phase. And then the next phase is, hey, I just opened this up and I'm training a guy. And then, so,
Yes.
right? And so if I only do phase 3, then they're only thinking about businesses to refer me to. If I do phase 4, they're thinking about businesses and people.
2 and 3.
Yeah,
So 2 is the emotional commitment, and here's why I'm doing it. So you're leaning into here's the emotional connection and the vision of where we're going.
That's
Then
the impact
3
story.
is you're introducing the fact that you're teaching it, because now you're planting the seed of the type of character and the type of person that they're interested, that they're looking for when they introduce people to us. And then 4 is you're now actually at the ask because you've now established credibility. You've actually laid a platform of your growth. They've been able to watch it, so now they can understand, oh, you're looking for someone in any place of this because there's a process that you can walk them through. Okay, so that's your baseline. Okay, that's not your bullpen, that's not your top 10, that's not the people you can call and say, hey, I'm coming over. Those are the people that aren't in a place where they can hear you and the relationship isn't quite strong enough to say you're willing to entertain anything.
And just from the way that we talk about this, right, where it's always the storytelling, right? And so for me, phase 2 is what's your impact story, and phase 3 is what is the impact story of someone on your team. You know, it was really cool. We just, you know, rolled out this 401k, did this financial wellness workshop. I had, one of the folks on my team there, and he experienced blah, blah, right? So phase 2 is what's your impact story. You know, I was working with a family and was able to help them this way. I was working with an employee and was able to help them that way. I was working with an employer and was able to help them this way. Phase 3 is what's the impact story of someone on your team.
What do we call phase?
Phase 1 is that you're doing it, you know.
You're planting the seed.
Right, you're
for
planting
what
the
you're doing.
seed of what you're
The
doing.
people in your market think of you as a lawyer.
Some of them do and some of them
Well,
don't.
the people who started,
The
not,
people
maybe
who-
they don't now, because
Oh,
you've already
everyone
planted that
thought-
seed.
100% everyone thought me as a lawyer.
Everyone saw you as a lawyer. If you sit down and I think you're a lawyer, right? You're a DUI lawyer that's who specializes. We sit down and you start talking about financial wellness. I have no idea. I'm trying to fit in the
That's
blocks.
the fire story. That's why this is this business, but I'm also doing this because of the fire story.
Right.
That's phase 1. You're
That's
planting the
phase
seed as to here's what we're doing.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the baseline. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It's very fun to be able to explain it, not roll it out, not introduce it, not have to fully teach it, not have to go through it, just be able to reference it and have most of the room be like, oh yeah, I've heard that a couple times, right? And there's a handful that are running. Now, that's your market and having them have a clear picture of your opportunity. These are people who are, I have a need and you have a service. We're going to develop our relationship by me servicing your needs and telling the stories of why I'm doing it and where we're going. They already understand some of the details of what we do and some of the value of what we do. Wade's going to sit down with Sean and he's going to talk about the impact of what we do. In that process, he's going to tell why he's doing it, and through that process to develop the next phase of relationships. If someone has a need, you don't have to take a step back and be like, well, I know you want to protect your family, but I need to make sure that you understand that I'm doing this and that it's important. If there's already if you go through the baseline process, if they already give you enough credibility to solve their need, you don't have to introduce the fact that you can solve their need. You just have to solve their need because they already know you can solve their need.
So where would that put them in these phases? I know they're not technically.
This wouldn't.
So they're not in our baseline 30 then. What group do we think of them in?
Well, they're in, right? I mean, they're at that particular point in this, they'd be mostly in your bullpen because they can hear what it is you're talking about.
Got you. So
And you're going to run through, you're going to tell your story, and then they're either going to move to the advocate group. For the most part, they're going to go to the scout team because that's going to be the process because we're not going to recruit the people that are there. And so they're at the baseline, they're at your bullpen, and you're going to be on the path to move your scout team.
Because they could be, though, once you provide a service for them, you lock them in, they're going to be warm because they're going to take your call. They may not just say, hey, come in tomorrow, right? They'll they say, I'll talk to you in 3 weeks. So they're in you just skip the whole baseline 30 part, service them, and put them right into your bullpen.
Yes. So, make sense?
Yeah.
And so now, there's going to be a process that we've got to go through. They're going to be warm, they're going to be hot, they're going to go through, there's a follow-up. And again, are you going to be in business in 6 months?
Yes.
So, it just is, right? They all happen, they all don't. At some point, you get them all, right? They all become a value story. But the most important process was, the most important thing, in my opinion, yesterday was when Sean saw his girlfriend. Now, the second most important thing was when Wade saw Kristen. But now, when Wade goes and sees Kristen today, Wade gets to take yesterday's conversation and expand it And now have Kristen's brain go. And she was excited yesterday. Wait till today. Because now the vision opportunity. Because now Wade's excited, Kristen's excited, Sean's girlfriend's excited. And Wade has the opportunity to actually introduce a coaching mechanism to Sean on how he's explaining something. So now Wade gets to develop the skill. Learning how to do something is one thing, learning how to teach it is another. So now Wade gets to call me and go, okay, I had this conversation with Sean. He was having this conversation. I told him this. I'm not sure if I received the right way. Okay, now I get to coach Sean. I get to coach Wade on how he's coaching Sean. Why? Because if you can do it, you can be profitable. I can coach Wade. If you can teach someone to do it, you can be competitive. If Wade can coach Sean, then Wade and Sean can go build something together. But if I can create a situation where it makes sense for me to coach Wade, Wade to coach Sean, and me to coach Wade on how he's coaching Sean, and that interaction is created, then there's a platform for me or Wade to coach Sean. And the moment Wade can coach Sean on how he's talking to Billy and how Billy's talking to Sally, I'm not in that conversation, but the impact is growing. And this is where freedom kicks in.
I think that goes to infinity because then it goes on its own.
Yep. So this is where we are. So good job, congratulations. It was a tremendous amount of fun. We got lots of things going on. And Justin Roberts, dude!
So Tony, how do you feel right now?
I'm excited.
You're excited, yeah?
I'm excited. I can see what they're talking about in one, learning the skills by teaching something longer teams that have then coach them, giving them the power. Not getting them to have the conversation because the impact story that's going to help them.
Sarah, how do you feel right now? Yeah.
I think I like the details of it. Like it's been a while since I've heard Brett say, like the story of David and his statue. And because we're in the growing stages of this business, and those type of stories I haven't heard in a while, or like they motivate me, and I get to feel like I already know the work that needs to be done. That's inevitable results in what I need to apply myself in. But when I hear like just little pieces of commercials of David and the statue and chipping away what's already there, that type of stuff just like puts me on the next level. Yes, let's go. Let's make it. Let's happen. That's what I'm at.
Let's go. Don, how do you feel right now?
Motivated, inspired. I'm ready to see. I don't think I have all the skills down yet, but I'm ready to dive into the skills to be where Wade's at.
Yeah. Tate, how do you feel?
Excited. Ready to work around.
Yeah.
Skills, opportunities.
Cool. Cindy, what was most impactful to you about when Wade was up here?
How he was able to stand in front of a room of people that were tense and scared of not knowing what they were going to hear, to be able to bring them down to somewhere where they listen. And they were willing to listen. And just to kind of calm the room. I know he talked about he felt tense in there. He felt the tension. But when he started to speak, people relaxed and calmed down and they opened their minds, their ears, just to hear and listen. So I like it's cool that he could do that.
Yeah, it is cool that you did that. How'd you feel after you heard Wade?
I can do that. I can do that. I actually have, that's one of the things, to use Wade's story of his first wellness session as an impact story. How this guy I know in my office, he's a leader to me. He's a mentor to me in a way that he shows that he can do this.
And how did you feel? How did you feel?
I'm empowered.
I feel empowered, excited, motivated, empowered. Arson, how do you feel after hearing Wade and Brett?
I feel great. I feel the belief of everything we're doing is growing stronger. And the very beginning when I first started was okay. And now now it's happening. And I feel it, I see it, I hear it. And it makes me feel stronger, want to go out and inform the people of the information that we have. Because as everybody says, nobody's coming and nobody knows.
Do you feel strong?
Feel stronger.
Yeah,
Feel stronger mentally, feel stronger in my success that I'm going to be happy with this company because I want to do the best, not only for myself, but for city, but for everyone else.
How do you think Wade feels?
I think Wade feels pretty excited about that. It's like, yeah, it's a validation of all the work he's put in.
Do you think he feels a little excited or a lot excited?
I think he's like flying around. Whatever. He's
You
excited.
think Wade feels a lot excited, huh? Yeah. How do you feel?
I was thinking about that question.
I thought you might be. It was a little obvious.
Yeah. Letting go run through a ball, you know, that's where I gotta go. You know, all like pumped up, you know, and you know, excited to know that this is a something that is real, it's really needed by people. You know, basically, I'm not as well spoken as Parson in the city this case.
I think you're incredibly well spoken. This is about how you feel. So every person in here feels pretty darn excited.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. And one of the challenges that we're facing as a team is that everyone in here feels pretty darn excited every Wednesday and every Saturday. But there's a smaller number of people that are acting on that excitement the moment that they walk out of here on Wednesday and on Saturday. And a challenge is that if we feel excited, but we don't channel that feeling into action, then we will be here every Wednesday and every Saturday incredibly excited, but nothing will actually change. That is our greatest challenge right now as a team. And we as coaches, and Wade is learning to be a coach in this business, are not going to do it for you. And so you have to be self-motivated. We're teaching our kids to be self-motivated. You have to be self-motivated. Paul, can you think of a time in your life when you were so self-motivated that you set a goal, achieved that goal, rocked that goal, continued achieving on that goal until the point that you had set for your life? Can you think of a time?
Yes.
I want you to all think for a moment. I want you to take a couple minutes. I want you to think about a time when you were incredibly self-motivated, right? No one was checking on you every single day. There was something you wanted to achieve, and you found the motivation, the fire to sustain yourself to achieve that thing. You have a thought in mind? A time in your mind? Okay, you got a time in your mind? Who would like to share that time? Will someone share? Otherwise, I'll call on you. I'm not going to call on you. Would someone share? Want to share? Want to share? Tony wants to share. Share. Tony, tell us about a time when you were incredibly self-motivated.
This is about a few weeks ago. And as the business is growing, and I'm seeing it being developed and things are happening with Wade's impact stories, I had two options. Whether continue just learning everything at pace I was learning it a year ago, or actually sit down and really, like Paul and I talked about this a couple of weeks, but take this and approach this as your own business. Like right now, we're not making any income, and so that's the reason why some of us just tend to slow down and not use it as fuel. And so a couple weeks ago, that's where I want to take this. The next 2-3 years can look a lot different if I treat it the way I want it and the way we say we want it.
So now I want you, and I'm gonna ask someone else to talk, I want you to rethink about what I asked. I want you to think about a time in your life when you were self-motivated enough to set a goal and hit that goal. Tate's shaking his head. Tate, share with us.
So I was hungry then.
That's fair.
I was in a computer programming class in high school, and I was always kind of an overachiever in that class. And our final project was to make our own game. And a lot of people just did like kind of point and click trivia kind of games, but I wanted to make like a Pokemon game in this program that we had called Snap. And I spent probably upwards of 12 hours at home just working on that game. And I didn't finish the game, but I finished it to the point where the program could no longer handle it and just wouldn't run it. So I consider that choice enough.
I like it. So what about that experience? Why were you so self-motivated in that experience? What was it?
Because it was something that I enjoyed, which always helps. And it was something that I felt like was in the realm of possibility and that I could do if I just sat down and did it.
So you enjoyed it. It was achievable. How did you feel when you finished?
I felt happy with how far I got on it. The program couldn't handle it, so I was kind of bummed about that because I couldn't go any further. But
yeah,
I was proud of myself for being able to do it.
Yeah. Did Ted share it with you, Bob? That he had done this?
He told us about the game.
Yeah. How did he sound when he told you about it?
Excited.
Excited. So Paul, tell us about a time when you were self-motivated and what you achieved.
A couple times. So starting a business last year, that was self-motivated in a way. Didn't know what I was doing, but it was a lot of fun. You know, I regret saying that it's fun. You know, I don't know how to get things done or what I'm going to do exactly, but yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump in and make it happen and figure out what I have to do. And so I think just going on that path and being excited about it. Cool.
Why did you choose this particular business? To do that business opposed to another business?
Because I had experience in that marketing, doing marketing, and I was initially going to focus on digital marketing because I had a lot of fun with the digital side of things. And then that's how people knew my skill set and knew me in a way. So I wanted to build on that. And
was it just because you were skilled in it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it. You see
It was fun.
And it's fun. David, tell me about a time you were self-motivated. You set a goal and you hit it. A time when you focused on something for a sustained period of time.
Sign 101.
Okay, yes.
Right?
So took a college course, Sign Language 101.
Yes.
And
That's what I thought we were.
I was thinking something else. And it was, like you said, it is a lot of those something. I enjoyed it. When I didn't know something, I looked for tutors to get that expert level. So I was self-motivated myself, but then I would also ask for help. So I also looked into someone that can, show me the right way to sign a sign that needed to be signed. And it felt exciting, obviously, it was fun, and doing it and accomplishing it. And then at the end of the class, from this professor being had a record of knowing that he was the toughest, and he never gave A's. And I already had put the work in, you know, and I would go to tutors because he said, if you guys need help, just go to see this tutor. And it was sign language 101. And he made us a sign language with a full story and ASL 101. In complete sign language. And I would ask other peers of other classes, like, are you guys doing the same like story? Or is your final going to be a class? Like, are you going to, you know, sign a whole story? And I was like, no, man, are you like an ASL AP or something? Like, and it was just like when I would hear all these songs, like, why are we doing all this? And I always, you almost kind of want to, you know, be different. And but I, you know, I just kept going and I accomplished it. And when I did I signed the full Alice in Wonderland story, like my first ASL, and he recorded this on tape. Wow. And I remember the next day when he gave up the grades, he was just like, I've never give up A's, but this person deserves it. I'm looking at the people like in the class like, wow, who's gonna get the A? You know, like, man, who's getting the A? Wow, who's gonna touch it? And it's like, David. And I'm like, what? I got the A. But it was because I did, you know, I did put the work in and I did ask for help and I did go the extra mile. And I enjoyed it as I was doing it. So I think that's a pretty awesome way to measure mine. So.
Don, how does David sound when you tell that story?
Proud.
He sounds pretty proud. How do you feel when you hear David tell that story?
I feel excited for him. Yeah. I'm proud.
So we're getting some themes here, right? I mean, Cindy was like, oh, as I said it. And so, you know, you guys all know I'm a psychology geek, right? And I've done a lot of work on self-motivation and reading about self-motivation this week because I saw that it was something that I really felt we needed to address as a team. And not all of us, right? But pretty much everyone other than Wade. Let's be honest. And so I took a step back and looked at what does psychology say and what is Wade doing. And the first thing that I observed is that Wade is excited. And what psychology has found is that most of the time when we think of self-motivation, we think about what we need to do. And it actually starts with how we feel. So Wade could know exactly what to do. And if he's not excited, he's not going to do it with the same intensity. It starts with how we feel. And how do we sustain that feeling? What do we do to sustain that feeling? What do we do on Sunday to stay excited about Saturday? Cindy, what's one thing you could do on Sunday to stay excited, to stay in the way that you feel right now?
To be honest, I'm searching for that.
Okay, so let's get some help from our friends, right? This is why we're a team. Tony, what's one thing you could do to stay this excited?
What I've done, one is watch the video.
You could watch the video to stay this excited.
You can tell somebody about it.
You can tell somebody about it! David, how did you feel telling the story about Sign 101?
Amazing.
Amazing! Did you feel the way you felt when you got that A? Did you relive it?
Oh my God, I was.
Right?
I almost put myself in the freaking room.
I'm like, I'm in the room, I'm feeling all, and I'm like, who? Me?
Yeah.
Right? I got chills. Did you feel it? Every time you tell the story of how you feel right now, it will reinforce the feeling. Chemically in your body, like you're all like pumped up right now, right? And if you forget that feeling, go to a time in your life when it worked. Feel the way you felt when you got that A and say, okay, I'm in the zone and now I'm going to attack my plan. I'm in the zone and now I'm going to attack my lineup. I'm in the zone and now I'm going to practice my what do we do conversation. Get in the zone. The motivation zone, the excited zone. If you can't get in it just by what we do, get in it from remembering a time when you felt that way.
Because it will move you. It will be your 20 seconds of courage to move you. It starts with how we feel. And we actually have to have passion for what we're doing. We have to believe. Belief is a huge part of self-motivation. We like to talk about things in threes, right? We have our 3 hurdles, right? What are the 3 hurdles when we talk to someone? Time, ability, and money. Okay, I'm going to give you the 3 hurdles in self-motivation. Because we like to talk in threes. Our 3 hurdles in self-motivation. Number 1 is a lack of confidence. I don't believe I can do it. Right? Someone said it was achievable. If you don't believe you can do it, how motivated are you to do it? Not very. The next thing is a lack of focus. I have all of these other outside influences. I'm not truly clear about what I want. I'm not truly clear on my why. And the third one is a lack of direction. I believe I can do it. I know I want to do it. And I don't know what the F to do. Right? I believe I can do it. I am excited. I believe I can do it. I know what I want to do. I have my W in my life. I have my goal. I have my clarity. I know what I want. And then I know what to do to get what I want because I have the tools to do it. And if you can hit all 3, you will be self-motivated. Wade, do you absolutely believe that you can be successful in this business? Do you absolutely believe that you can help people in this business?
Yeah.
Wade stands up here week after week, and the one thing that comes out of his mouth is, it is real. I don't know how many times he needs to tell you. But the catch is, he can tell you until he's blue in the face, and it doesn't matter unless you believe it. It is real. Wade stands up here and he's like, and if I can do it, you can do it. I'm doing 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 it. I'm self-motivated to do it. I believe that I can do it, and it is real. He has the confidence. Is Wade clear about what he wants? Crystal clear, baby. He stands up here every week and reminds you. You think it helps his clarity when he stands up here every week and tells you? Heck yeah. We have to drive us every day, every moment. And the way we drive us is we create accountability for ourselves by telling everybody what the heck we're doing. By putting ourselves in that excited moment. It actually takes work. Everything you do in life takes doing something. Right? Brett says you cannot think of one thing without replacing it with something else. You cannot sit in a lack of confidence and be confident. You cannot leave your excitement at the door and motivate yourself to do anything the rest of the week in your business. So you have to wake up in the morning and hear me in your head. Or if you prefer, Brett or Wade or Sue saying, what are you doing today to be excited? What are you sharing today? How are you taking this to the next level because you believe? And if you're not, check yourself. Say to yourself, be honest with yourself. If you're not going to be honest with yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. And think of all the people that we're not going to help. Check yourself. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Why? Do I have a lack of confidence? Do I have a lack of focus? Do I have a lack of direction? Have I set my I see farther than I can actually see? Because that's what most of us do. Because that's the only way you lack confidence that you can actually achieve it, is if your IC isn't your real IC. This is a roadmap to your self-motivation. And the first question is, do you care about what we're doing in here? Are you really passionate about it? If you're not, that's cool. But you're probably going to be a little challenged in your intensity, right? We have a group of folks that are at different levels of passion, right? We have a group of folks that are incredibly passionate about being teachers and writers and lawyers. They're also passionate about their futures and their families' futures. So wherever it is that you find your passion in what we do, drive it. Tell yourself, Cindy, put it on your mirror, because we know that's where you're driven from. And say to yourself, if I'm not doing it, do I not believe I can do it? Am I not clear about what I want? Do I not know what to do? Because you have plenty of coaches who will be happy to sit down with you and get why. But you have to execute on the plan, not us. And sometimes there are those moments you have to channel Wade in your 20 seconds of courage. And you have to channel Art. And you have to say to yourself, just do it. Just do it. But the just do it doesn't come from a place of a lack of excitement, right? The just do it comes from a place of confidence and focus and direction. It might be that some of the couple things that you got to do, you're not so excited about. Sue and I have been in that position. But what we know is if we do it, it's going to get us what we're trying to achieve, and that keeps us motivated. It starts with how we feel. And momentum builds momentum. So what you want to do is I want you to channel this excited energy. I want you to think about what is the one thing you're going to do tomorrow to feel this excited about what we're doing. Because when you achieve that one thing, you're actually going to build momentum to keep the excitement going. And you're going to be motivated to do one thing on Monday. And you're going to be motivated to do one thing on Tuesday. And then suddenly on Tuesday, you're going to like do one and then decide to also learn your chart. Because the momentum will start. And I believe that doing one thing fits in everybody's IC in this room. Tony's like, I can do 5. I don't care. I want you to do 1. Because when you say you can do 5, you end up doing none. The one thing. Telling Anna about today. Telling Anna about it. Sharing your story with Wendy. What's the one thing that you can do? And who's the one person? And you know what is so fantastic about you doing one thing to keep you excited by sharing your story? You know what happens to the other person?
They're excited.
They get excited. And what business are we in? Distribution. This husband just all comes together, doesn't it? So the way that you keep yourself excited supports our entire distribution model. Because you're going to share it with that person, and that person's going to feel excited. Right? How excited did you feel about David's story? Right? What's the likelihood that you might tell someone who's in sign language, taking sign language, thinking about sign language, one of the parents of your kids, about David's story? You like that?
Yeah. One thing that was funny about David's story was he was telling it, and I was fairly confident David was the one that was going to get the A. But the way that he was saying it was so excited, I was like, who's going to get the A? David? God, I hope it's David. It's David? David, yes!
And now, really, that's important. That's important. And that is something that we're going to focus on next week, which is how you tell the story. Right? So right now, I just want you to tell it. But we're going to think about and talk about and practice how you tell the story. And that is such an awesome experience that you just had, because you will likely tell your story to Kristen today differently. Because what you start to be able to do is think about what is the emotion you want in her, and how do you build the story to get it, right? And as lawyers, right, when we have a witness on the witness stand, we know the answer that we want the witness to say. More importantly, we know how we want the jury to feel. right? So right now, I just want you to tell the story. But those folks who've been telling the story can start to think at the next level. And we'll work on this on Saturday of how do I tell the story in a way that gets that person to feel the way I want them to feel. The good news is that your raw excitement will translate, period. Okay? But then we get to what's the debrief? What do we want Kristen to tell her sister? And that's the next step of that distribution channel, just so you can see where it goes. Right now, I want to see all of you so excited that Wednesday is a blowout. That's the most important thing right now. Get everybody here, right? The greatest way to use your excitement is to say, oh my God, I'm so excited. And you should come hear more about what we're doing on Wednesday. Every one of you on Wednesday, do what you need to do to walk in this door feeling as excited and motivated as you feel right now. And it will not just happen. You have to make it happen. You have to tell the story or watch the video or ping one of our coaches. Make it happen, guys. Because if this team, with as much potential as we have, actually channel that into self-motivation, nothing can stop it. We can only grow. We can only increase our impact. So just do it. And don't just do it, slack it. Let us know. Let us know that you did it. Let us know how you feel. Because you know what? When Dawn hears about what you did and how you felt, she's going to feel it. You know what else she's going to do? She's going to be motivated to do it too. So that's what I ask of all of you. Say to yourself, what's the one thing I can do tomorrow to feel as excited as I do right now? Do it and slack it. And then we'll do it again, and we'll do it again, and we'll do it again. And then we'll build a momentum, and this group will be a self-motivating machine. I'm good?
Yes.
Everybody in?
Yes.
Good. What's it all about?
Excellent.
You